Games inside the North Park here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram, and Mike Arsenault is down on the competition floor. We go from a classic opening event that we usually see at the CrossFit Games to a classic CrossFit Games triplet.
And CrossFit Games triplet is a good way to put it. A lot of times when you get out here to the CrossFit Games, you have very similar triplet styles and couplets, but now we're upping the things. Heavy sleds, pigs, and ring muscle-ups with long straps. These athletes are in for quite a start for event number 2.
2 heats of 20 athletes for both the men and the women will take the field. The opening heat for the men will be up first, and they're going to have to deal with the pig. And for more on that, let's send it down to Mike Arsenault.
Thank you very much, Sean. 38 irresistible forces meeting 1 immovable object. The pig has returned to CrossFit competition for the first time since 2015. The first time the pig has made an appearance here in Madison. It's like flipping a refrigerator end over end if your refrigerator is 6 feet 10 inches long and weighs 510 pounds for the men. So look for the big, strong guys to really have an advantage while flipping the pig here in event number 2.
First group of athletes on the floor. Justin Medeiros will be in lane number 10. He had a solid start to his competition, finishing 5th in event number 1. And then Brent Fikowski also in the heat as well. He will be in lane 18. But getting back to Medeiros, he kind of sneaked in there in 5th place overall. Great start for him in event 1.
Great start, but unfortunately for him, they seeded this event prior to what the finishing places for event number 1. So he's in top 5, but he's in heat number 1. I'm curious to see how he handles the pressure of coming off a great finish last year on the podium, and now he's one of the athletes that we're talking about a podium position maybe at the end of the weekend.
Brent Fikowski looking to get himself back onto the podium.
Decent finish this morning. Probably not what I would have expected for Brent Fikowski with those long aerobic endeavors, but the professor is back in live competition, and this is an event that plays to his skill set because it's so meticulously done.
Heat number 1 of event 2 is underway. Lane 1 is on the far side of the field. Lane 20 will be closest, and we start with that sled drag, 300 pounds on the sled for the men.
That's a heavy sled drag, and the question is, what is this going to do to the athletes? Well, it's all about the legs, the hamstrings, and the glutes, which is everything you need going into this pig flip.
Fikowski is out of his sled, and he will be the first man to flip his pig. Henrik Hapalainen at the other end of the field is onto the pig as well. But Fikowski was the first man there. Brent Fikowski. They have to flip this 5 times, and then it is onto the rig for those 12 ring muscle-ups.
And Sean, as you said, it's 5 times and 5 times only, so it doesn't matter how far the pig actually flips. It's just a number of reps. And now what the challenge is here is that this is all pulling, and we did a lot of pulling in event number 1, and they've got quite a bit amount of pulling coming up here for the gymnastics portion of this classic games triplet.
Fikowski is done. He is working his way to the rings. And Henrik Hapalainen is also on the rings as well. They are the first 2 men to start work on their initial set of 12 ring muscle-ups. There's Henrik Hapalainen.
Now here's something I just watched Brent Fikowski do, is that these rings are all at a fixed height. And the problem is that Brent Fikowski is one of the tallest athletes we have in the field. And you can see Colton Burton and Justin Medeiros. Is Fikowski's feet just hit the ground on the backswing of his muscle-ups. And that is a major, major disadvantage for Brent Fikowski.
Henrik Hapalainen is your leader. Keep an eye on the top of your screen. The overall leader's name in the heat will be highlighted in red. The number in the white box next to that man's name will indicate the number of repetitions he has completed. Everyone else, the number in the white box will indicate how many reps behind of the leader that they currently are. It's Brent Fikowski, Justin Medeiros, Alexander Corona, and Henrik Hapalainen fighting for the lead here in the opening part of this second event.
And what Brent Fikowski is going to have to do is tuck his knees on the swing, and that's really going to take away from the kip swing. Now, he was able to manage that pretty well, and the only benefit for him is that the straps are very, very long, and what that means is athletes aren't going to be able to do as big sets as possible as we move into these 24 bar muscle-ups. Now, what's the difference here? We have that fixed bar right in the middle, so you're not allowed to swing through or else you're gonna smash yourself into the pull-up bar, but what this is doing is it's the same movement pattern. So yes, it's ring versus bar, but it's still 42 of the same basic movements back to back.
Sam Cornier is also on the lead pace along with Brent Fikowski and Justin Medeiros. And he is now taking the lead as both Medeiros and Fikowski. Medeiros on the right, Fikowski on the left. Brandon Luckett on the far left of the screen.
These middle 24 reps, it's about managing the workload on the grip and on the pull. We said already in event number 1, we spent an hour to an hour and 20 minutes of pulling ourselves through the water with the swim and the kayak. So your pull is very taxed, and it's a similar movement pattern for this bar muscle up. Again, we already flipped the pig 5 times, so managing the fatigue in the middle, and it's really gonna come down to the second half of this with the final 12 ring muscle ups and how they got there.
Sam Cornier has made the turn after his first set of 12 bar muscle-ups. He is your leader. Improve your mobility with ROMWOD and get a 14-day free trial at romwod.com/CrossFit. Also available on the App Store and Google Play.
Justin Medeiros just did a set of 4. That seems to be the rep scheme a lot of these athletes are tackling, because you had 12 on the rings, then 24 on the bar right in the middle. So sets of 3, sets of 4. Fikowski just did a set of 3. Again, it's going to come down to those ring muscles. You talk to demo team, we talked to Allison Scuzz, one of the athletes, they navigated this with minimal breaks, and then on the last 12 ring muscle-ups got reduced to singles.
Brent Fikowski with 4 to go on his bar muscle. Sam Cornier in lane 12 is currently your leader.
Fikowski on the right side, Medeiros on the left, all chasing Cornier, but Fikowski with 3 reps left to go. Again, those short sets, really good quick breaks. He's sticking to his plan, and this is classic Brent Fikowski, just meticulously working his way through these events.
There's Sam Cornier, who is in lane 12. He's been training with Rich Schroning and the CrossFit Mayhem crew. He is your leader, as Justin Medeiros has now worked his way back to the rings. Will Morad is heading to the rings as well.
And you'll see that. You'll see a lot of different pacing within the event itself, right? We start with a heavy sled drag, we move to a heavy pig. That's the weightlifting portion of this event. And then we have the gymnastics portion, the 12 ring muscle-ups, 24 bar and back to the 12. So it's not a surprise to see those that are more versed in the gymnastics make a move here in the middle of the event.
Sam Cornier, still your leader through 51 total repetitions. Alexander Carone, Will Morad, Fikowski, and Luka Jukic are all right behind that man. Fikowski on his final set of 12 ring muscle-ups.
And look, Fikowski dropped to the ground, his feet touched, and he was still holding on to the rings. That's how low these are set. This is set at a lower height than we've seen at the CrossFit Games in the past.
Cornier looking to hang on to the lead as he will work his way back to the pig. Cornier has yet to win an event at the CrossFit Games, and he will get to work on that 510-pound pig. The first time we have seen this implement in Madison. The first time we've seen it since the infamous soccer chipper back in 2015, the event that went a long way towards keeping Matt Fraser off the top of the podium that year.
And it derailed him because of his technique on the pig, where in 2015, Matt Fraser was doing a lot of arm pulling, and it blew his biceps up for rope climbs. The trick here, you got to get low. You got to get those shoulders into the pig and drive your hips forward. A lot of athletes lift up from the hips.
Brent Fikowski having trouble getting under that thing. Justin Medeiros and Colton Mertens are setting up.
And here's the problem: if you've got your grip smoke from the 42 muscles we just did, it's very hard to get your bearing of what Fikowski's doing. He's doing what he's supposed to, but he's not close enough to the pig, so when he drives his hips forward, it ends up sliding away from him.
Sam Cournoyer is on to his final sled pull, 300 pounds. He's got to get across the finish line. He's looking to lock up a heat win. 1 heat to go here for the men. Brent Fikowski sits in second. Justin Medeiros is in third, but it is close as now Will Morad is putting pressure on Fikowski, but Cournoyer all by himself out front. And Sam Cournoyer making a statement early here. Just a few feet to go. Cournoyer is in, and he will take heat 1 in convincing fashion. Sam Cournoyer, 8:09, and now a race on the sled for second place as Brent Fikowski closest to the camera. Will Morad is next to him. Fikowski getting the best of this duel. Fikowski with another strong performance to back up what he did in event 1. He is in. Will Morad will finish third in a battle developing for fourth place as Alex Vigneault, Justin Medeiros, Henrik Haapalainen at the far end of the field is the man who is winning the race right now. So Haapalainen in his first ever appearance at the CrossFit Games. Luka Jukic is the other man on the sled. He is falling off the pace. Haapalainen is in. He will take fourth place. Make it fifth as Alexander Caron had crossed the finish line. And now more athletes starting to come across, but it's Sam Cournoyer who has the time to beat at 8:09.71 seconds. Colton Mertens is on the sled as Brent Fikowski catches his breath. Brandon Luckett looking at the far end of the field. It's like Joris Karavis on the far side as Mertens has come across. Luckett trying to beat Karavis across the finish line. Mertens will take seventh unofficially, 9:55.34 seconds. Luckett is in. That's Uldis Upniks. The 12-minute time cap here. And just about everybody is onto the sled except for Tim Paulson and I believe Sam Stewart and Zach Watts.
Which is interesting because you see those are two of the strongest guys we have in the entire field between Paulson and Watts.
There's Roy Gamboa. He is in. And that is Travis Mayer.
Wow.
Mayer now trying to get inside the time cap. Shouldn't have trouble doing that. Sean Sweeney is also on the sled as well. Sweeney in the background in the black shorts as Travis Mayer is across. Sean Sweeney is in. Now Tim Paulson is on the sled. Zach Watts is still struggling with the pig. Tim Paulson trying to get inside the 12-minute time cap. As Watts struggles on that pig, here's Tim Paulson with 10 seconds to go. And Paulson is going to make it with a couple seconds to spare. But it's Sam Cournoyer who dominates heat number 1, a time of 8:09.71 seconds. Brent Fikowski will take second. Will Morad edges out Alexander Caron by a couple of seconds. And then it's Justin Medeiros with a 5th place finish with 1 heat to go. But Cormier, impressive.